Micah, sack, Gilmore, interception, game over. Cowboys head into the bye week with a 2017 win in L.A. Shan, RJ, and Bobby celebrating with the Hall of Fame owner and general manager Jerry Jones with the 9:30 appearance, brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you on a Cowboys and Rangers Tolo Tuesday. Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
Shan, RJ, Bobby, it's great to be on with you this morning. And I'm talking to you from New York. We have our NFL league meetings that started here in about an hour. And so I came on up here to New York after the ball game. Didn't have to get on an airplane. I was flying without anything as I went across this country last night after the game. It was really a great experience.
Well, thank you for making the time. We appreciate that. Jerry, just kind of give us your overall game thoughts and reaction in getting that W.
Well, I can't tell you how proud I am. I felt it was as disjointed or sloppy a game as maybe that's a strong word for both sides. I really thought the game was, relatively speaking, statistically, it was even. And as it turns out, the big penalties probably helped each team, hurt it at critical times, but helped it as well. And so that probably those penalties evened out. Obviously, the stats were real even on the game. It was a hard-fought game. They're a good team. They got a good quarterback. They've got good players. We respected them going in. They were everything that we thought they'd be. I'm really proud that we got out there and had that kind of win against them.
Jerry, it looked and felt like McCarthy and Dak really, really let out a sigh of relief when that thing went final. Did this feel really, really needed? How much was it needed with all the San Francisco fallout and all the stuff we talk about in the media last week?
Well, I think we continue to recognize, if you look at the way this season's going, recognizing how even the talent is distributed in the NFL, and that's by design. And for instance, when a player is released this week by any club in the NFL, and the team that finished last, the worst record last year, gets first dibs on that player. And it gets ahead of all the others, and then you move on as you finish. So it's designed to keep that talent even. And that's what you're seeing. And that's what you saw last night. And they've got some outstanding quarterbacking. And we saw that bite us last night as well. But I'm really proud of our guys, and make no mistake about it. It's the type of game that it was, which makes this thing so interesting, football, because you can play it in the mud and rain, or you can play it in the great climate and have a certain type of officiating. And as long as all of this stuff is affecting both teams, then, man, you have a game, and the game has to be adjusted with what's going on. We did well. That was an important win for us. And, yes, we did need to win because of the disappointment we'd had in San Francisco. But we'll use this bye week to really evaluate the last 6 games. We're a long way down the road from when we left training camp. We got a long way to go.
Jerry Jones here on Shan and RJ 105.3 The Fan. Cowboy fans are even extra excited because Philly and San Francisco lost, and I thought about that with your point about the way the league is set up, and you're absolutely right. My follow-up to that, Jerry, is how difficult does it make it for you to decide whether you're a true contender or, you regress to the mean in the way that the league is set up? How hard is it to judge if you're a really, really good team or if you're a team that's committing too many penalties and having trouble offensively?
Well, I think you do obviously have serious room for improvement, and we have that. We're not the team we can be. Now, the major limiting factor for our team to evolve and get better will be availability of players that we were counting on. Injury, principally, is a problem. But if we can stay healthy, we will evolve, we will get better, and we've got some outstanding talent. And so when you get in a game like last night, you come out on the top of it, you get another notch in that win column, and that where you stand when you at the end of this thing trying to figure who's going to be in the playoffs at what level. You look at all of that and you realize what just really what a competitive place this NFL is.
Jerry, what did you think of Dak's game yesterday? I thought it was one of his best games of the year, especially from a comfortability standpoint in the offense. Do you think this was his best game?
Yeah, I do. First of all, we had to have his legs, and we had them, and we got to that. Certainly, initially, was a big part of that offense. I think at one time he had about 70-80% of. Well into the game, he was our leading rusher by margin, and that's real important. But I can't say enough about how he just played football out there. As he certainly was able to get plays made that were critical on time against a really good team and a defense that was playing really competitively in the Chargers. So bottom line is I thought it was Dak's best game of the year.
You mentioned his legs and how you really needed them. Is that something you want to see him do more of? I mean, since his injury, he hasn't used his legs as much as he did before.
Not necessarily at all. But when it's there, we got to have it. And we needed the game. And when we have to use it, and he took some licks at the end of those runs. And so that can be costly now. But that was an important game for us.
Jerry, you have talked in recent weeks about how, you'd like to see Brandon Cooks get used a little bit more. We know that CeeDee Lamb had made it known this week that he'd like some more involvement. What did you think about the games that your wide receivers played yesterday with Lamb and Cooks contributing in a big way?
I thought we really saw in Brandon what you got, that one end and around that he did that showed his speed, shows why we need to have him vertical, and we need to have him. There's a question in my mind just how much to use him laterally or crossing routes. He needs to be going deep. We need to use that speed. I thought Gallup had a little problems in the game. We've got to get him. He's evolving still. I think I know he gets tired of hearing this, but trying to get on back from where he was because of his injury. But we had good games from our receivers yesterday.
And yeah, you mentioned there with Gallup, the connection between Michael Gallup and Dak Prescott has been inconsistent, like you said, since the injury. Why do you think they've had trouble getting on the same page, and what is for you a reasonable timeline for how long the injury can affect him before you say, hey, there's just something not right here?
Well, I don't know that you have a timeline, but that play to start the game in the back of the end zone, that was a play that you got to have. And so again, I'm not saying there's a timeline, and I'm not saying he has a timeline, but when he is available in the offense, which really I pictured Gallup as a contested long ball receiver. He needs to get his hands right. He needs to get those thumbs together on passes above the shoulders. You open those hands and have the thumbs apart when it's below your waist, not above your shoulders. So we got to get him, just to get him technique-wise where we know he can be, and that could be the next game.
Jerry Jones here on the Fan. Jerry, could you tell if this win meant a little bit more to Coach with all the Kellen build up and hype?
Well, it was an important win for Mike for all the reasons. 4-2 is major, and he, of course, no one would appreciate that more than him or what it's taken to get to 4-2. But yes, it was an important win, and we've had some pretty good Western road trip here between Arizona and San Francisco, and then the Chargers. So as I sit where we are today, we'll take this 4-2.
Jerry,
but it was a very, very important win for Mike, and thereby being one for all of us, because this offense has a lot of room to be more impactful and more effective. And he got some of it at times there last night. Mike did.
That's exactly where I was going with the question in terms of, did you guys make a major adjustment? Did you want to open things up more? Was there a big change strategically with the offense going into last night? Because some of it did look different.
What was disappointing for me, we didn't run the ball well last night. And but we did do what you do when you can't run the ball, and that is throw the ball. And we were able to make that kind of adjustment. We got receivers involved. We basically did get some yardage, of course, out of Dak, but then that in and around was a big play. That showed me a little variation in what happens when they've got you plugged up in the middle. That was unexpected that they played as well and were effective in the middle in the run game as the Chargers were. That was unexpected. We thought we could run better than that.
I'll be able to tell my son one day. I asked Jerry Jones this question. Your thoughts on the tush push?
Well, I was surprised. I'm all for it, and I like to play. I think Dak is an excellent sneaker. And I was just surprised that we were stopped. And but I completely agreed with that's the play to run.
But you're okay with the play in general? There's a lot of talk about that with the competition committee, with the way Philly has perfected it. You like it?
No, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I like to play. I think there's a place for the play, and I think you've got some options that run off where people talk about the injury to the quarterback. Well, do the tush push with somebody other than the starting quarterback under center. There's a lot of ways to approach this thing, but I'm all for implementing the emphasis on the scrum, the traditional scrum that you normally think that the NFL and football in general and college is trying to avoid. That doesn't bother me as much on this play.
Jerry Jones joined us here at 105 through the Fan. I wanted to get your take on the decision before the half. With 8 seconds to go, not to take the timeout, let the clock run down to 3 seconds. What was your take on that decision? Did you like the decision to settle for the field goal, or would you like to have seen them take a shot into the end zone?
Well, first of all, this is not an impassioned response to your question at all. But I thought we should have tried another pass in the end zone and manage the clock accordingly.
Do you think not doing that shows a lack of faith that Mike might have in Dak's ability to make that decision?
Not at all. Not at all. No, that doesn't reach that point with me at all. I just, from the perspective I had, thought that we might be able to try it there. But I haven't talked to Mike about the call.
Jerry, the Dallas Morning News had a story yesterday about Kellen Moore's departure from the team, and there was a quote in there that said, the plateau or regression in Prescott's performance led the owner to wonder if the quarterback was too comfortable. If you agree with that description, can you expand on that point?
I don't necessarily agree with the quarterback was too comfortable, uncomfortable. those are not the issues. I thought we had the opportunity to give the best of what Kellen could offer us by what he had done over the previous 4 years. Then we get to have Mike McCarthy come in, who I have a lot of promise for as far as being able to literally implement and make the calls in our offense. So I did think it was a step forward to make that happen. It wasn't so much as really more moving on. It was more about being able to utilize Mike, have him more. He's the busiest guy there is in Dallas, Texas, head coach as well as offensive coordinator. But it was a better use of what our circumstances were, and I thought it certainly was a Dak-friendly move.
Jerry, before we let you go, I love asking you this question every year because you're so in touch with what the media is doing. As we head into the bye week, what do you think has been the most overblown storyline or something that we should clarify with the Cowboys 6 games in?
I think we probably that I and we all do want to see a more dominant team from the standpoint of the losses that we have had, or if you will, some of the problems we were having last night moving the ball. And so I think we probably haven't factored in the fact that they pay their guys too on the other side of the ball. And they are very talented players. Matter of fact, very close to equal talent with what the Cowboys have most of the time. And we've got some good quarterbacking that we played and going to face. So I just probably think, and maybe I'm speaking about my own mirror, but I would say that pretty high expectations and maybe a little unrealistic on where we should be. And that had everything to do with where we started this thing off. I'll be very candid with you. When we opened up against the Giants, I didn't know what we were going to have walk out there, because we hadn't been together and hadn't played as a first-team offensive unit. We hadn't played in the preseason. Well, that really created a high bar expectation-wise. And then we turn around and have a good game against the Jets. I think we've got it sized up now. We've got some work to do. We can get better and should. But other teams are going to get better too if we can avoid this injury bug. We've got a chance to have a really outstanding year.
And finally, the world went crazy when you and Jimmy got together for that conversation before the game. If we were a fly on that wall, what will we have heard? How did the Jimmy convo go?
Well, I was surprised to see Jimmy, but then I wasn't. I pictured Jimmy down in the Keys in Florida, and someone said, well, Jimmy's over there on the sideline. We're pretty busy before a game on the sideline, all of us are. And so it was good to see him, and we basically had a visit. Let me be real candid. Jimmy and I have never had issues with being around each other and being able to communicate and, if you will, communicate in a positive way. Yeah. That's always been the case. And so that shouldn't surprise anybody. He's very, of course, familiar with my family, and we've spent a lot of time together. For me to be visiting with Jimmy has been going on for 50 years, and really 55 years.
Yeah.
And so it's not easy. You don't have any problem talking with somebody. Now, during that period of time, do you have some issues that you probably don't bring up every time you see each other? Of course. But I think a lot of Jimmy Johnson, make no mistake about it. And I have a lot of respect for him as a great coach, and really I'm so proud of what he's brought to this game. And so all those things are alive and well. So of all the people nobody should be surprised that I'd be sitting there yucking it up with would be Jimmy Johnson.
Does he ever needle you or bust your chops about all the Ring of Honor stuff?
We visit about that, and we also, as people who've known each other a long time, we got a lot to needle each other about. And it's fun.
Well, look, congratulations. I think we all have a humongous sigh of relief. Great way to go into the bye. Enjoy a little bit of time off if you're going to take it. And, of course, go Rangers.
Well, it's good to be on with you guys. Matter of fact, it is great to be on. I wouldn't have missed this morning for love or money. And like I said, I think we finally got to sleep about 6:30 this morning as that sun was coming up over Manhattan. We landed. So, but I was where we were going to be talking.
Hey, as long as you didn't go on that other show twice in 1 week, that was a big victory for us. We can't have you go. We can't have you give them bragging rights, Jerry. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.